Kang Daeho walked through the cargo bay with his scanner in hand. The metal floor clanked under his boots as he moved between the shipping containers. He had done this job 1,000 times before. Check the manifest, scan the containers, approve the shipment, and move on to the next one. It was boring work, but it paid well enough for him to live comfortably on Meridian Cross Station. The cargo bay was cold today. Daeho could see his breath in small clouds as he exhaled. The ship from the Vulpine sector had arrived an hour ago, and he was the inspector assigned to clear it. He didn't mind. Vulpine traders were usually polite and their paperwork was always in order. He heard footsteps behind him and turned around. A woman stood near the entrance to the ship. She had russet-colored fur covering her arms and legs, pointed ears that twitched slightly, and a bushy tail that swayed behind her. Her eyes were a bright amber color that seemed to glow in the dim light of the cargo bay. She was Vulpine, and she was beautiful in that alien way that always made Daeho a bit uncomfortable. "I am Hana," she said. Her voice was smooth and musical. "You are the inspector?" Daeho nodded. "Kang Daeho, I need to scan your cargo containers. Standard procedure." Hana smiled, showing sharp white teeth. "Of course. Everything is in order. I have been trading on this route for 3 years now." Daeho began scanning the containers. The first 5 came back clean. Standard trade goods like textiles, spices, and electronic components. Nothing unusual. But when he reached the 6th container, his scanner beeped loudly. The screen flashed red. "This container is showing biological material," Daeho said. He looked at his tablet. "It's not on your manifest." Hana's smile disappeared. Her ears flattened against her head. "That must be a mistake. Perhaps your scanner is broken." Daeho shook his head. "The scanner is working fine. I need to open this container and inspect the contents." Station regulations. He reached for the container's lock panel. Hana moved quickly, faster than Daeho expected. She grabbed his wrist with surprising strength. Her amber eyes were wide with what looked like fear. "Please," she said, "do not open that container. I can explain everything. I can pay you to forget what you saw." Daeho pulled his arm away from her grip. "That's not how this works. If you have unauthorized biological material, I have to report it. Step back, please." He activated the container lock with his access code. The heavy door hissed open. Inside, Daeho saw rows of small cylinders filled with glowing blue liquid. Each cylinder was marked with symbols he didn't recognize. His scanner went crazy, beeping and flashing warnings about genetic material and biotech. "This is illegal," Daeho said quietly. He reached for his communication device to call station security. Hana lunged at him. Her hand knocked the device from his grip. It clattered across the floor and slid under a container. Daeho stumbled backward, surprised by her aggression. She moved toward him, her body low and predatory. Her tail lashed behind her. "I cannot let you report this," Hana said. Her voice was different now, more animal than human. "You do not understand what this means for my people." Daeho raised his hands. "I don't want trouble. Just let me call security and we can sort this out properly." "No." Hana shook her head violently. "They will execute me for this. The matriarchy does not forgive smuggling our genetic material." She jumped at him. Daeho tried to dodge, but she was too fast. They crashed to the floor together. Hana's hands were on his chest, holding him down. He struggled against her, but she was much stronger than she looked. Her face was inches from his, her sharp teeth bared. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I do not want to do this." Then she bit him. Her teeth sank into the soft flesh of his forearm. Pain shot through Daeho's arm and he screamed. The pain was intense, burning like fire under his skin. Hana held on for several seconds before releasing him. Blood dripped from her mouth. Her eyes were wide with shock and horror at what she had just done. "No," Hana said, backing away from him. "No, no, no. What have I done?" Daeho clutched his bleeding arm. The bite marks were deep and blood was flowing freely. He felt dizzy and sick. Through his pain, he saw Hana turn and run. She disappeared into her ship. A moment later, he heard the engine start up. The ship detached from the station with a metallic clang that echoed through the cargo bay. Station alarms began blaring. Security would arrive soon. Daeho tried to stand, but his legs felt weak. The pain in his arm was getting worse. It felt like something was crawling under his skin, spreading from the bite wound throughout his body. He managed to reach his communication device and pressed the emergency button before everything went dark. When Daeho woke up, he was in the station medical center. Bright lights hurt his eyes. A doctor stood over him, scanning his arm with a handheld medical device. The doctor was human, an older woman named Dr. Park. "Welcome back," Dr. Park said. "You had us worried for a bit. How do you feel?" Daiho tried to speak, but his throat was dry. The doctor gave him some water. After a few sips, he could talk. "What happened?" "How long was I out?" "About 3 hours. You lost some blood from that bite wound, but we've cleaned and treated it. The security team found you unconscious in the cargo bay. The Vulpine woman and her ship are gone. They escaped before security could stop them." Daiho looked at his arm. The bite marks were covered with fresh bandages. "It hurts. That's normal. The scans show the wound is clean. No infection, but there's some unusual cellular activity around the bite site. Nothing dangerous. Probably just your immune system responding to alien saliva. We'll keep monitoring it." Dr. Park gave him some medication for the pain and told him to rest. Daiho was released from the medical center that evening. He went back to his small apartment in the station's residential sector. His arm still hurt and he felt exhausted. That night, Daiho couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw strange images: forests under multiple moons, running on all fours through tall grass, hunting something in the darkness. The dreams felt incredibly real, more like memories than imagination. When he finally woke up, it was morning. Sunlight from the station's artificial sun panels streamed through his window, but something was wrong. The light seemed too bright, almost painful. Daiho could hear everything. The couple arguing 2 apartments away, the hum of the station's air recyclers, footsteps in the hallway outside his door. Every sound was crystal clear and distinct. He got out of bed and walked to the bathroom. When he looked in the mirror, he froze. His eyes were different. They were still brown, but for just a second they flashed amber. The same amber color as Hana's eyes. Daiho blinked and his eyes were normal again. He told himself he was imagining things. It was just the stress from yesterday's attack. The medication Dr. Park gave him was probably causing side effects. But deep down, Daiho knew something was changing inside him. Something that started with that bite. Something that would transform his entire life in ways he couldn't yet imagine. 3 days passed and Daiho's world changed completely. He woke up on the 4th morning and immediately knew something was terribly wrong. His sheets were shredded, torn to pieces by something sharp. He looked at his hands and saw his fingernails had grown longer and harder overnight. They looked almost like claws. He stumbled to the bathroom and splashed cold water on his face. His reflection showed more changes. His eyes had flecks of gold mixed with the brown now. His hair seemed thicker. When he touched his ears, they felt slightly pointed at the tips. This wasn't stress or medication. This was real. Daiho tried to go to work but couldn't focus. Every sound in the station was too loud. He could hear conversations from 50 meters away. The smell of recycled air made him want to gag because he could identify every chemical in it. When a colleague accidentally bumped into him, Daiho moved faster than thought, catching himself before he fell. His reflexes were inhuman now. By lunch, Daiho knew he needed help. He called his friend Yoon Ji-woo, a xenobiologist who worked in the station's research labs. They met in a quiet cafe in the lower levels where fewer people would see them. Ji-woo arrived carrying a small medical scanner hidden in her bag. She was a short woman with sharp eyes and quick hands. She had been Daiho's friend since he arrived on Meridian Cross 5 years ago. "Show me the bite," Ji-woo said immediately. Daiho rolled up his sleeve. The bite wound had healed completely. Not even a scar remained. But the skin around where the bite had been looked different. It had a slight shimmer to it, like light reflecting off water. Ji-woo pulled out her scanner and ran it over his arm. Her expression changed from curious to shocked. "Daiho, this is impossible. What is it?" "Your DNA is changing. I'm seeing genetic markers that shouldn't be there. Vulpine markers. But they're not just mixed with your DNA. They're rewriting it completely. This shouldn't be possible with just a bite." Daiho felt his stomach drop. "Am I dying?" "No, the opposite actually. Your body is accepting the changes and adapting to them. But there's something else here. Something I've never seen before. Your human DNA isn't just accepting the Vulpine genetics. It's improving them, making them better." Ji-woo looked up from her scanner. "I need to run more tests. Can you come to my lab tonight? After hours when no one else is there?" Daiho agreed. That night he met Ji-woo in her laboratory. She ran dozens of tests, taking blood samples and tissue scans. Hours passed as she worked at her computer, comparing his genetic data to databases of known species. Finally, Ji-woo turned to him with a strange expression on her face. I think I understand what happened. Vulpine bites are more than just injuries. They're a form of genetic transfer. When a vulpine bites someone, they can turn that person into one of their kind. It's how they expand their population and create pack bonds. So I'm becoming vulpine? Daiho asked. No, that's what's strange. You're not becoming vulpine. You're becoming something different. Human DNA has a property that no other species has. It's incredibly flexible and adaptive. When exposed to alien genetic material, human DNA doesn't just copy it. It takes what's useful and makes it better. Jiwoo pulled up images on her screen. Look at this. Your bone density has increased by 40%. Your muscle tissue is reorganizing to be more efficient. Your neural pathways are processing information 3 times faster than normal. You have all the advantages of being vulpine, plus you kept all your human traits. You're not a hybrid. You're an upgrade. Daiho didn't know what to say. He looked at his hands again, watching as his fingers seemed to blur slightly when he moved them. What does this mean? It means that woman, Hana, she did something very dangerous. If the Vulpine matriarchy finds out what happened, they'll want to eliminate you. This proves that humans could become superior to any alien species if exposed to the right genetic material. That's information that could change the entire galaxy. As if summoning a demon by speaking its name, Jiwoo's computer beeped with an incoming message. She opened it and her face went pale. Security alert. A Vulpine diplomatic ship just docked at the station. They're looking for someone. The description matches you. Daiho stood up quickly. I need to leave now. Wait, let me pack some supplies for you. Medical equipment, data chips with my research. Jiwoo rushed around the lab, grabbing items and stuffing them into a bag. The laboratory door suddenly exploded inward. A tall Vulpine male stood in the doorway. He had black fur with silver streaks and cold blue eyes. He wore armor that marked him as military. His hand rested on a weapon at his hip. Kang Daiho, the Vulpine said. His accent was thick. You will come with me. The matriarchy has questions about your condition. Daiho backed away. I'm not going anywhere with you. The Vulpine pulled his weapon, a sleek energy pistol that hummed with power. This is not a request. You are contaminated. You must be eliminated before the contamination spreads. Jiwoo stepped between them. He's done nothing wrong. You have no authority here. The Vulpine's eyes narrowed. I am Minho, enforcer of the matriarchy. I have all the authority I need. He raised his weapon toward Jiwoo. Something snapped inside Daiho. He moved without thinking. One moment he was standing by the wall. The next moment he was between Minho and Jiwoo. He moved so fast that Minho couldn't track him. Daiho grabbed the weapon and crushed it in his hand. The metal crumpled like paper. Minho's eyes widened in shock. He threw a punch at Daiho's face. Daiho caught the fist easily. He could see the punch coming before Minho even started moving. Everything seemed to happen in slow motion. Daiho pushed Minho backward. The Vulpine flew through the air and crashed into the wall. Run, Daiho said to Jiwoo. Get out of here. Minho recovered quickly. He pulled out a knife and charged at Daiho. They fought in the small laboratory, moving faster than any normal human could follow. Daiho realized he was stronger and faster than Minho. Every instinct told him where to move, how to block, when to strike, but Minho was trained and experienced. He slashed Daiho's shoulder with the knife. Pain bloomed hot and sharp. Daiho stumbled back, giving Minho space to call for backup on his communication device. This isn't over, Minho said. More of my team are coming. You cannot escape all of us. Daiho grabbed Jiwoo's bag of supplies and ran. He burst out of the laboratory and into the station's corridors. Behind him he heard Minho calling for other enforcers. Alarms started blaring throughout the station. Daiho ran faster than he ever had before. His new body moved with incredible speed and grace. He weaved through crowds of people, jumped over obstacles, and navigated the complex station layout by following scents and sounds. He was heading down, toward the lower levels of Meridian Cross where the law didn't reach as easily. His shoulder still bled from the knife wound, but already he could feel it starting to heal. Whatever he was becoming, it was powerful, maybe too powerful, and now everyone would be hunting him. The Vulpine matriarchy wanted him dead. Station security would be looking for him soon. He was alone, transformed into something that shouldn't exist, and running for his life into the darkest parts of the station. But as he ran, Daiho felt something unexpected. Not fear, but excitement. His new body felt right, strong, capable. Whatever came next, he would face it. He had no choice now. The bite had changed everything, and there was no going back to the simple life of a cargo inspector. His real journey was just beginning. The lower levels of Meridian Cross were a different world. The lights were dim and flickered constantly. Water dripped from pipes in the ceiling. The air smelled of rust and chemicals. This was the underdock, where smugglers and criminals lived in the shadows beneath the legitimate station above. Daiho had been hiding here for 2 days. His shoulder wound had healed completely, not even leaving a scar. He kept moving, never staying in one place too long. Station security patrols occasionally came down here, but they moved in large groups and made lots of noise. Daiho could hear them coming from far away and easily avoid them. He was sleeping in an abandoned storage room when he heard footsteps approaching. Not security. These steps were light and careful. Only one person. Daiho pressed himself against the wall, ready to run or fight. The door opened slowly. A woman stepped inside, human, with short black hair and tired eyes. She wore a pilot's jacket covered in patches from a dozen different cargo companies. She looked around the room, then directly at where Daiho was hiding. "You can come out," she said. "I'm not here to turn you in. My name is Beck Suman. I hear you need a ride off this station." Daiho stayed still. "How did you find me?" "I make it my business to know what happens in the underdock. Word travels fast down here. Human cargo inspector. Being hunted by Vulpine enforcers probably needs a ship. That's where I come in. Why would you help me?" Suman smiled. "Because I don't do things for free. You need transport. I need payment. 30,000 credits and I'll fly you anywhere in the sector. No questions asked." Daiho stepped out from his hiding spot. "I don't have that kind of money." "Then we have a problem." Suman turned to leave. "Wait," Daiho said. "I have information. Research data about human genetics and alien DNA. It's worth more than credits to the right buyer." Suman stopped and looked back at him. Her eyes showed interest now. "I'm listening." Before Daiho could explain, another voice spoke from the doorway. "That information belongs to the matriarchy." Minho stood there with 2 other Vulpine enforcers. All 3 had weapons drawn. They had followed Suman somehow, or maybe tracked Daiho's scent through the station. Either way, he was trapped. "This doesn't concern you, human," Minho said to Suman. "Leave now and you won't be harmed." Suman raised her hands and backed away. Daiho felt a flash of anger. Of course she would abandon him. Why would she risk her life for a stranger? Minho advanced into the room. "You have caused enough trouble, Kang Daiho. Time to end this." Daiho tensed, ready to fight. But then he smelled something strange in the air. A chemical smell, sharp and acidic. He saw Suman pull a small device from her pocket and press a button. The room filled with thick smoke. It burned Daiho's enhanced senses, making his eyes water and his nose sting. He heard the Vulpine enforcers coughing and cursing. Through the smoke, he felt Suman grab his arm. "Move," she said. "My ship is docked 3 levels down." They ran together through the smoke and out into the corridors of the underdock. Behind them, Daiho heard Minho shouting orders to his team. They had maybe 2 minutes before the Vulpines recovered and gave chase. Suman led him through a maze of passages and service tunnels. She knew every shortcut and hiding spot. They reached a small docking bay where a beat-up cargo ship sat waiting. The ship looked old and barely functional, covered in dents and patches. "This is the Wildfire," Suman said. "She's not pretty, but she flies fast." They were almost to the ship when a figure stepped out from behind a cargo container. Daiho's enhanced senses recognized her immediately. Hana, the Vulpine woman who had bitten him. She looked different now. Thinner, scared. Her fur was matted and her clothes were dirty. "Daiho," Hana said. "Please, I need to talk to you." Suman pulled out a small pistol and aimed it at Hana. "Is this the one who started all your trouble?" Daiho nodded slowly. He should have been angry. This woman had destroyed his life. But looking at her now, he only felt confused. "Why are you here?" "I have been hiding in the underdock since that day," Hana said. Her voice was quiet and pained. "I never meant to bite you. It was instinct. Fear. When I realized what I had done, I panicked and ran. But I cannot stop thinking about what I did to you." "You turned him into whatever he is now," Suman said. "Sounds like you should keep running." Hana shook her head. "No, I want to help. I know someone who might be able to reverse the change. A geneticist on Talos 4. He works with forbidden technology. If anyone can help Daiho, it is him." Daiho studied her face. His enhanced senses could detect lies by reading heartbeat and breathing patterns. Hana was telling the truth. She genuinely wanted to help him. "Why should we trust you?" Suman asked. "Because the matriarchy wants both of us dead now," Hana said. "I broke our most sacred law." I turned to human. "They will hunt me forever unless I can prove it was an accident and fix the damage." Alarms suddenly blared through the docking bay. Security had found them. Daeho saw armed guards pouring in from 3 different entrances. Behind them came Minho and his Vulpine team. "Decide now," Suman said. "Do we take her or not?" Daeho made his choice. "She comes with us. Get to the ship." All 3 of them ran for the wildfire. Weapons fire erupted around them. Energy bolts scorched the ground and walls. Suman returned fire with her pistol while Daeho and Hana ran for the ship's entrance. They made it inside just as more guards arrived. Suman slammed the door controls and the ship sealed shut. She ran to the cockpit and started firing up the engines. Daeho and Hana strapped themselves into seats in the cargo hold. "Hold on," Suman's voice crackled over the intercom. "This is going to be rough." The wildfire lifted off the docking platform. More weapons fire hit the hull, making the whole ship shake. Suman flew the ship in a wild pattern, dodging between other vessels and station structures. Daeho heard her cursing and laughing at the same time as she piloted. They burst out of Meridian Cross Station at maximum speed. Station defense turrets fired at them, but Suman was too good a pilot. She weaved and rolled the ship, dodging every shot. Within minutes, they were far enough away to engage the faster-than-light drive. The stars stretched into lines as they jumped away from Meridian Cross. Daeho let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. They had escaped. Barely. Suman came back from the cockpit. "All right. Now that we're not being shot at, someone needs to explain what's going on. Why are Vulpine enforcers trying to kill you? And why do you heal like that?" Daeho looked at his hands. They were steady and strong. "Because that bite changed my DNA. I'm not fully human anymore. I'm something new. Something that scares them." "And you think this geneticist on Talos 4 can reverse it?" Suman asked. "I hope so," Daeho said. But part of him wasn't sure he wanted to go back to being normal. His new body felt powerful, alive. Going back to being weak and slow seemed wrong now. Hana spoke quietly from her seat. "I am sorry. For everything. If I could take it back, I would." Daeho looked at her. "Why were you smuggling genetic material? What was in those containers?" Hana's ears flattened against her head. "My people are dying. Our genetic purity has made us weak. Our birth rates are falling. I was trying to save us by finding new genetic material. I thought maybe if we could carefully integrate DNA from other species, we could survive. But the matriarchy forbids it. They would rather let us die than admit we need help." The 3 of them sat in silence as the ship flew through space toward Talos 4. They were an unlikely group, a transformed human, a desperate Vulpine, and a smuggler pilot. But they were all running from the same enemy now. And maybe, just maybe, they could help each other survive what was coming. Talos 4 was a frontier world on the edge of civilized space. The planet was mostly desert with small settlements scattered across the surface. Dr. Kim Won-shik lived in one of these settlements, hidden away from the major galactic powers who wanted to arrest him. Won-shik had been a respected geneticist once, working for the human colonial government. But he had broken laws by experimenting with alien DNA. When they tried to imprison him, he fled to Talos 4 and continued his research in secret. The wildfire landed at a small spaceport outside Won-shik's settlement. Dust storms swirled around the ship as Suman powered down the engines. Through the windows, Daeho could see the small town built from prefabricated buildings and salvaged materials. "He lives in the research facility at the edge of town," Hana said, reading from a datapad. "The building with the green lights." They left the ship and walked through the dusty streets. The few people they passed stared at them with suspicious eyes. Strangers were not common here, and the mix of a human, a Vulpine, and a pilot clearly running from something made people nervous. Won-shik's facility was larger than it looked from outside. The building went deep underground where the doctor conducted his experiments. A security system scanned them at the door before allowing them entry. Dr. Won-shik met them in his laboratory. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. His lab coat was stained with chemicals and his hands shook slightly as he gestured for them to enter. "I heard rumors about you," Won-shik said, looking at Daeho. "A human who survived a Vulpine turning bite. I did not think it was possible." Can you reverse it? Deho asked. One-Shik pulled out scanning equipment and began examining Deho. He took blood samples, tissue scans, and genetic readings. Hours passed as the doctor worked silently, occasionally muttering to himself and making notes. Finally, One-Shik stepped back and looked at Deho with an expression of wonder and fear. Reverse it? No, this cannot be reversed. Your DNA has been completely rewritten. You are stable now. This is what you are. Deho felt his heart sink. Part of him had hoped to return to normal, to go back to his simple life. So I'm stuck like this? Stuck? One-Shik laughed, but it was not a happy sound. You do not understand what you are. You are not a hybrid. You are an evolution. Your human DNA took the Vulpine genetic material and improved upon it. You are stronger, faster, and more adaptable than either species alone. One-Shik walked to his computer and pulled up images and data. I have studied human genetics for 40 years. Humans have something unique that no other known species possesses: genetic flexibility. When exposed to alien DNA under the right conditions, humans do not just copy the traits, they perfect them. What does that mean? Suman asked. It means the galaxy has been lying to humanity for centuries, One-Shik said. His voice grew angry. We are told that humans are weak, that we breed slowly, that we need protection from stronger alien species. But it is all lies. Humans are perhaps the most dangerous species in the galaxy because of this genetic flexibility. He turned to look at all of them. Do you know why humans are kept in certain sectors? Why we are not allowed unrestricted access to alien genetic databases? Because the galactic powers discovered what would happen if humans gained access to alien DNA. They would become superior versions of every species. One-Shik pointed at Deho. You are living proof of what humans can become. If this information spreads, it could change everything. Wars would start. Species would try to wipe out humanity before humans could replace them. Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. One-Shik ran to his security monitors. Impossible. How did they find us so quickly? On the screens, Deho saw multiple ships landing near the facility. Vulpine strike teams were disembarking, led by Minho. But there were others too. Ships marked with symbols from other alien species. The Reptilian Concordat, the Avian Assembly. Multiple galactic powers had sent forces. They are not just hunting you, One-Shik said to Deho. They want my research. They want to know everything I have learned about human genetics. We need to leave now, Suman said. One-Shik shook his head. Too late. They will be here in minutes, but I can save the research. He began frantically copying files onto data chips. My life's work. Everything I learned about human potential. It cannot be destroyed. The facility shook as explosions rocked the upper levels. The alien forces were blasting their way inside. One-Shik finished copying his data and handed the chips to Deho. Take these. Upload them to your neural implant. My research must survive even if I do not. Come with us, Deho said. I am an old man. I will only slow you down. But you are the future. You are proof that humans do not need to be afraid anymore. One-Shik pushed them toward a back exit. Go. There is an underground tunnel that leads to the spaceport. Run. They ran. Behind them, Deho heard gunfire and shouting. One-Shik was buying them time with his life. The tunnel was dark and narrow, but Deho's enhanced vision could see perfectly. He led Suman and Hana through the passages. They emerged near the spaceport just as another explosion lit up the sky. One-Shik's facility was being destroyed. The old doctor was gone, but his research survived in Deho's neural implant. They sprinted to the wildfire. Enemy ships were already lifting off, preparing to chase them. Suman got the engines started while Deho and Hana secured the cargo bay. Within seconds, they were airborne, but this time escape would not be easy. Multiple ships followed them. Vulpine hunters, reptilian warships, and others. They all wanted Deho dead or captured. I cannot outrun all of them, Suman shouted from the cockpit. We need a plan. Deho looked at the data chips in his hand, then at his reflection in a metal surface. His eyes were fully amber now, glowing with an inner light. He had spent days wishing he could return to normal. But One-Shik was right. Normal was not an option anymore. He had to embrace what he had become. Take us toward the Kuiper Reach, Deho said. There are asteroid fields there. We can lose them in the chaos. As they flew, Deho began uploading One-Shik's research into his neural implant. Information flooded his mind. Genetic codes, historical records, secret files about humanity's true origin, Everything Wanchik had discovered in 40 years of research. One file made Deho's blood run cold. It was a communication between galactic leaders from 200 years ago. They were discussing the human problem. They had discovered that humans were descendants of an ancient species that once ruled the galaxy. A species with incredible genetic adaptability that allowed them to survive anywhere and become anything. The modern galactic powers had found Earth and humanity. They had decided to contain humans, to feed them false information about their own limitations. They feared what would happen if humans learned the truth about their potential. They have been controlling us for 2 centuries, Deho said aloud. Keeping us weak and dependent. What are you talking about? Hana asked. The truth. About humans. About why everyone is hunting me. I am not an accident or a mistake. I am proof that humans have been held back artificially. The wildfire shook as enemy fire struck their shields. They were entering the asteroid field now, but the pursuing ships were not giving up. More vessels were arriving from different directions. This was not just a hunt anymore. It was becoming a war, and Deho realized something important. He could not keep running forever. Eventually, he would have to make a choice. Hide what he was and hope to survive, or reveal the truth and change everything. The bite from Hana had started a chain of events that could not be stopped now. The galaxy was about to learn what humans were truly capable of becoming. The wildfire limped through space with half its engines damaged and shields failing. They had escaped the asteroid field, but just barely. 3 pursuing ships had been destroyed in the chaos of flying rocks and debris. The others had backed off, but Deho knew they were still out there, tracking and waiting. We need repairs, Suman said from the cockpit. Her voice was exhausted. And fuel. There's an abandoned mining station 3 hours from here. We can hide there while I patch up the ship. Deho nodded. He sat in the cargo hold, scrolling through the data Wanchik had given him. The more he read, the angrier he became. Everything humans had been told was a lie. Their history, their biology, their place in the galaxy, all carefully crafted deceptions to keep humanity contained. Hana sat across from him, watching quietly. What will you do with that information? She asked. I don't know yet, Deho admitted. Part of me wants to broadcast it across the entire galaxy. Let every human know the truth. But that would start wars. Billions could die. And if you stay silent? Hana asked. Then nothing changes. Humans remain controlled, and you spend your life hiding. Deho looked at his hands. They were steady and strong, capable of crushing metal. He had power now. But what good was power if he was too afraid to use it? They reached the abandoned mining station and docked inside a maintenance bay. Suman began repairs while Deho explored the empty corridors. The station had been deserted for decades, left adrift in space when the mining company went bankrupt. In an old communication center, Deho found equipment that still worked. With some effort, he was able to access the galactic network. He could send a message from here, upload Wanchik's files to every human colony simultaneously. The thought terrified and excited him. His neural implant chimed with an incoming message. Someone was hailing the station on a private channel. Deho accepted the call. A Vulpine woman appeared on the screen. She was older, with silver fur and piercing green eyes. She wore elegant robes that marked her as nobility. Her presence commanded respect even through a video screen. Kang Deho, she said. Her voice was smooth and cultured. I am Lady Mion, matriarch of the Vulpine people. I wish to speak with you. Deho felt Hana come up behind him. She gasped when she saw who was on the screen. The matriarch herself, Hana whispered. I know you have been running from my enforcers, Lady Mion said. And I know what happened to you. The bite, the transformation. I also know about Dr. Wanchik's research that you now possess. If you're here to threaten me, save your breath, Deho said. Lady Mion smiled slightly. I am not here to threaten. I am here to offer you the truth. The full truth about why the Galactic Coalition has kept humanity contained. I already know the truth. Humans are descendants of an ancient species. We have genetic abilities that scare everyone. That is part of the truth, Lady Mion said, but not all of it. The ancient humans did not just disappear. They were destroyed in a war that nearly ended all life in the galaxy. The other species survived by forming an alliance against them. When modern humans were rediscovered on Earth, the Coalition faced a terrible choice. Destroy you or control you. She leaned forward. They chose control. For 200 years, the Coalition has manipulated human development, keeping you weak and dependent. But some of us believe this was wrong. Some of us want to see what humanity could become if given the chance. Why should I trust you? Deho asked. Because my people are dying, Lady Mion said simply. Our genetic purity has made us weak. We need new genetics to survive. When Hana bit you, she broke our law. But she also proved something important. Humans can accept our genetics and improve upon them. You are not a threat to my people. You are our salvation. So you want to use me, Deho said. I want to work with you. Release Dr. Wanshik's research. Let humanity know the truth. But do it in a way that does not start a war. Let humans and Vulpines form an alliance. Together we could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Deho ended the call. He needed time to think. Lady Mion's offer was tempting, but could he trust her? And what about all the other species who would see humanity as a threat? He returned to the cargo bay where Suman was finishing repairs. We need to make a decision, he told them both. We can keep running or we can do something that changes everything. What are you thinking? Suman asked. I want to broadcast Wanshik's files. All of them. Let every human colony receive the information simultaneously. Let humanity know what they really are. Hana's ears flattened. That will cause chaos. The Coalition will respond with force. Maybe, Deho said. But humans deserve to know the truth. We deserve the choice to be what we really are instead of what others want us to be. Suman grinned. I like it. When do we start? They worked through the night, setting up the broadcast equipment. Deho prepared the files, adding a message of his own. A video explaining what had happened to him, showing his transformation and calling for humans to stand up and claim their true place in the galaxy. Just before they sent the broadcast, alarms blared. Ships were approaching the station. Lots of them. On the scanners, Deho saw vessels from multiple species. But there were also human ships. Colonial defense forces had arrived. They are going to stop us, Hana said. No, Deho said. They are too late. He pressed the button. The broadcast went out. Millions of files uploaded simultaneously to every human colony in the galaxy. The truth about human genetics. The conspiracy to contain humanity. Wanshik's research proving what humans could become. The ships outside stopped moving. Deho imagined captains and crew members receiving the broadcast, reading the files, learning the truth. The galaxy would never be the same. Hours later, responses began coming in. Human colonies were in uproar. Some demanded immediate action against the Coalition. Others were afraid of what this meant. But the one thing everyone agreed on was that the old order was over. Ambassador Li Taeyong, the human colonial representative, sent a personal message to Deho. What you have done will have consequences for generations. But perhaps it was necessary. Humanity thanks you, though they may not fully understand that yet. In the following days, the galaxy transformed. Human colonies demanded full membership in the Galactic Coalition, with all restrictions lifted. Some alien species supported this, others prepared for conflict. The careful balance of power that had lasted 2 centuries was crumbling. 6 months later, Deho stood on a new station that had been built specifically for genetic exchange programs. Humans who wanted to undergo controlled transformations came here. Scientists from multiple species worked together to understand and guide the process. Dozens of humans had already undergone transformations. Some had bonded with Vulpine DNA like Deho. Others had integrated genetics from different species, becoming unique versions of themselves. Each transformation was different, each person becoming something new and powerful. Hana worked alongside Deho as a genetic counselor. She had found redemption by helping others through the process she had accidentally forced on him. The Vulpine matriarchy had pardoned her, seeing the value in her work. Suman ran security for the station. She had declined any genetic modifications, preferring to remain fully human. Someone needs to remember where we came from, she often joked. Deho looked out the observation window at the stars beyond. His amber eyes reflected the light of distant suns. He was no longer the simple cargo inspector he had been. He was something new, something powerful, something the galaxy had tried to prevent. But he was also still human in the ways that mattered. He still cared about people. He still wanted to do what was right. The transformation had given him strength, but it had not changed his heart. A young human woman approached him. She was scheduled for her own transformation tomorrow and looked nervous. Does it hurt? She asked. Tejo smiled. The bite hurts. The change is uncomfortable, but becoming what you were always meant to be, that feels right. The woman nodded and walked away, her fear replaced by determination. Tejo turned back to the window. Out there, the galaxy was changing. Old alliances were breaking. New ones were forming. Humanity was no longer content to be controlled and limited. They were claiming their birthright as descendants of the ancient species that once ruled the stars. Some called it dangerous. Some called it evolution. Tejo called it necessary. He touched the spot on his arm where Hana had bitten him. The wound was long healed, not even a scar remaining. But that bite had changed everything. It had revealed the truth that the galaxy had tried to hide. Humans were not weak. They never had been. They were adaptable, flexible, and capable of becoming anything they needed to be. The Vulpine woman had bitten him expecting to create a problem she could eliminate. Instead, she had awakened something that could not be stopped. Tejo looked at his reflection in the window. His eyes glowed amber in the dim light. He was a symbol now, proof of what humanity could achieve. The responsibility was heavy, but he would carry it, because that bite had not just changed his body. It had given him purpose. He would help guide humanity into its future, whatever that future might be. They had been held back for 2 centuries. Now they were free to become what they were always meant to be.